Good morning, everybody. So today is Thursday, April 23rd. I have a video prepared today for um, our IXL assignment G4 Maps with decimal distances. So I'm not going to specifically cover the other IXL assignments we did this week, mostly because the class has done so well with it. It's very clear your fifth grade teacher did a very good job teaching you guys adding and subtracting with decimals. Some of you need a little bit of extra practice, but looking at today's scores, or well, I guess yesterday's scores, um, everybody's getting faster and faster with it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to extend this a little bit further to some word problems we can solve now that we're a little more comfortable with adding and subtracting decimals. So let's take a look here. So we have, let me clear this. This is something I'm trying out today. We'll see how it goes. So we're using the paths shown. The distance from Blue Point to Winchester is 21.7 kilometers. How far is it from Blue Point to Oxford? So this is our key question here, what we're trying to answer. And then we have some important information up here. Right, we know the distance from Blue Point to Winchester is 21.7 kilometers. So let's take a look at the diagram now. Whenever you're given a picture, you always need to look at that once you read through the directions. It usually will make everything a little bit more clear. So let's see, the distance from Blue Point to Winchester, 21.7. So what they're saying is that from here to here plus here to here is 21.7. So the total is 21.7, and we only know this chunk of it. So what we can do is we can take the total distance, 21.7, and subtract this 8.2 away. We take that away, and that leaves us with this here left over. So that gives us 21.7 minus 8.2. We need to find out what that's equal to. So let's do that. Just clear this. So let's first line this up, just like you did all week. 21.7. We need to line up the decimals. So we have a 2 here. We have an 8 in the ones place. Now we need to subtract. 7 minus 2 is 5. Bring down the decimal point. 1 minus 8. Can't do that, right? 1's not big enough. So we need some help. We need to borrow. Let me use a different color. So we need to borrow from here. This 2 becomes a 1. We're because we took 1 away. And we turn this 1 into an 11. 11 minus 8, 3. 1, well, there's nothing to subtract. So 1 minus 0 is just 1. So we get 13.5, but it's not just 13.5. Right? We're solving for a distance, so we need our units. 13.5 kilometers. And if you did this right, if you add up 13.5 plus 8.2, the distance from here and the distance from here, you should get 21.7 kilometers total. Let's try it out. Looks good. All right. So let's look at this one. Looks a little tougher. Using the paths shown, how long is the shortest route from Newberry to Norwood? Let's do a new page here. So, Newberry to Norwood. That's our key information here. And we're trying to find how long is the shortest route. So that's something very easy to miss. In fact, I almost did the first time. That's why it's always good to read these more than once. How long is the shortest route? So that tells us we need to find what the smallest route possible is from Newberry to Norwood. Now, let's start off in Newberry. We're going to Norwood. Now, from here, there's not much else we can do from here to here. Right? You have to go that way. Nothing we can do about it. Now, you could take this way and go kind of around, but you could do this, I guess. But you're really going out of your way, right? The quickest way is just to walk straight there, or to drive straight there, whatever we're doing for this. So I'm going to get rid of that, what I wrote in, and we're going to take the quick way, because we don't have any reason to go to Danville. We're trying to get to Norwood as fast as possible, taking the shortest route, the quickest route, smallest route. Okay? So now all we need to do is find out how far we went total. Well, we need to add this 6.7 plus 17 kilometers. And let's do that. Now, I already know the answer because we don't have any decimals here, so I can just add the 17 plus the 6. I know that's 23, and then we just add on the decimal at the end. But let's write it out just to be safe. I don't see a decimal with our 17, but I do see a decimal here. So that means I'm going to write it as 17.0 so that we can have a decimal down here, or so that we can line up our decimals. So now we're adding these up, right? Because we're trying to find the total distance of the shortest route. So we do 0 plus 7, 7. Bring down the decimal. 7 plus 6 is 13. So I'm going to write in a 3. Carry over the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. And what do you know? That's what I said. 23.7 miles. Remember, mi, that means miles. So let's type that in. Just so you know, I'm not lying to you guys. There we go. Let me look at this one. We already did one like this. Let's take a look at this one. So, using the paths shown, how far is it from Brookfield to Summerfield? So, let's take a look. We're going from Brookfield to Summerfield. We want to know how far it is. No special tricks here. There is kind of an extra number that we'll see because we're trying to go from Brookfield to Summerfield, so we only need to add this distance plus this distance. This over here, this is to trick you. Right? We don't need to go this way. This is, if you're going from Brookfield to Summerfield, if you're going to Manchester, you went too far. So we don't care about this over here. We want to know how far from Brookfield to Summerfield. always take these checks here at the start. Read through the question 2, 3 times, however many times it takes. Look at the picture. Figure out what you need, what the question's asking for. Get rid of what you don't need. Make a plan. Solve it. And then, very importantly, check your work. So we need to find out the total distance from here to here. 5.6 plus 13.9. 13.9. Line up the decimals. Okay, in our tenths place here, we have 9 plus 6. That gives us 15. There's not enough room for the 1, so we have to regroup. Carry over the 1 to do that. That gives us 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 5, 9. And we have a 1. Okay, and I'm checking my answer. Does it make sense? I know 13 plus 5 is 18. I know 0.9 plus 0.6 would be 1.5. 18 plus 1.5, 19.5 miles. So let's try it out. Okay, let's see. Let's look at some of the challenge. Yes, here's a good question. But you need to be careful. You have to read this one very good, very, very carefully. So, from Middletown, how much farther? How much farther? Now that's going to be very important. Is it to Dayton? Actually, let me use a different color. Than to Centerville. Use the paths shown. So what we're doing in this case is we're making a comparison. Okay, we're comparing how far these two different trips are. In fact, let me change up this color a little. Okay, so let's see, we have Dayton, we have Centerville, and we have Middletown. Okay, so we're trying to see, okay, we're trying to compare how much farther it is to Dayton than to Centerville. So we know Centerville from Middletown. So that's where we're starting, from Middletown. So we're starting here. We know to get to Centerville, well, that's easy. That's just here to here. But to get to Dayton, that's a little different. We have to go over here and then over here. So what we're trying to do is compare how much farther it takes, or how much farther we have to go if we go to Dayton versus to Centerville. So first off, let's find out how far it even is to Dayton. So to get to Dayton, well, we're gonna have to add up this distance plus this distance. 12.16 plus 6.58. Alright, so we know 6 plus 8, 14. Carry over the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 5, 7. Bring down the decimal. 2 plus 6 is 8. Bring down the 1, right? 1 plus 0 is 1. So, to Dayton, it's 18.74 miles. To Centerville, it was 7.86 miles. Now we're trying to see how much more this number is, this 18.74 is, than 7.86. Now, pause the video right here. Think about what's your plan to do that? How do you find out how much more a number is than another number? Welcome back. So, you should be finding the, drum roll please, the difference, the difference between these two numbers. So, because we're trying to find out how much farther they are. So we're trying to find out how different these two numbers are. And when you're trying to find the difference between two numbers, well, you need to subtract. So we need to take 18.74 minus 7.86. Now let's see. I have another page here to do that. We have 18.74 minus 7.86. And I'm going to make this a little darker. So let's subtract. 4 minus 6, you can't do that. So let's borrow. The 7 becomes a 6. Now we do 14 minus 6. That's 8. 6 minus 8 you can't do. Need to borrow. This becomes a 7. Now we have 16 minus 8. It's 8. Bring down the decimal. 7 minus 7 is 0. 1 minus 0 is 1. Now, let's look at our work. Does our answer make sense? You can check your work by adding 10.88 plus 7.86. Let's do that. So I'm going to write that here. Check. Very messy writing. So 10.88, if we did this right, we should be able to add it back up with what we subtracted and get the same thing that we started with. We should get 18.74 if we add these both up. 8 plus 6 is 14. Carry over the 1. 8 plus 8 is 16. Plus 1, 17. Put a 7 here. Carry over the 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. Plus 7, 8. Bring down the 1. What do you know? We did it right. So you put a check mark right there. So our final answer then was this 10.88 miles. Okay, so what we found is that this distance here total is, bring it back up, 10.88 miles more than this distance. Okay, so this is 10.88 more than this number here. This number added plus this number was the distance here. So you get 10.88. You type that in. Let's try it out. Okay. So if you want a little bit of an extra challenge, give these last few a try. You guys have extra time, so why not? Math can be fun, especially if you're keeping up on it. So just think of it like puzzles, right? Might as well try and get a little bit smarter every day here while we're while the world's locking down and being safe and smart. Okay, So I hope everybody's taking care. Look forward to seeing everybody on Friday for our second live stream. That'll be at 9 o'clock a.m. Please, please do your best to be there. Bring a paper and pencil. I promise we're going to be doing a lot more math this week. We're going to be trying some problems out, trying some different things. I think you guys are really going to like it. So please show up. I have lots of good ideas I want to try out. So just please make an effort just to come once a week to every live stream session. All right. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you. Take care. Hopefully this video worked out pretty well for you. I feel like it did. So I might do something like this more going forward. Have a good day.